Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I'm doing all
Good.
right. It's Friday.
Yeah, I understand the Friday. Although, are you working from home? So you have work days, even though you're at home.
So I'm not. I'm taking care of the kids. Debbie works in the hospital, right? So for her,
Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah, the thing you said last night was kind of interesting. About that turn and the kick with sole, and you're actually turning on the heel and not on the ball of the foot. It's I guess what was interesting for me on that one. So, um, I done the Shotokan, and you don't really do uh, a heel pivot, right? You don't,
right?
especially.
No, not in karate.
Yeah, yeah. And but the Tai Chi was such a different dimension. It didn't bother me. And what was kind of nice for me, about the Tai Chi was, the Aikido footwork was very different. It was all triangle, and there wasn't actually a lot of talk about the actual footwork. It's just a feeling of flow and connection, which, after the Shotokan was both liberating and extremely difficult. But when I started doing the Tai Chi, it was enough of a similarity to some of the Shotokan, but it was such a different dimension that that heel pivot. I never thought about it. I don't know how well I was doing it. My first teacher was a man named Steve Malamuth. And he was, I think, the very first person, Master Choi Kaman, certified to teach. And so he was a student at UC Santa Cruz, and he was in the Aikido club. So even though he was a Tai Chi teacher, he was in the Aikido club. So we used to train Aikido together. Then he started a Tai Chi class in Merrill College, Lawn area. And yeah, so what happened is that, I signed up for it because I was fascinated by it. But what happened is there was a demo that the Aikido club did during spring week. And Robert Fraser, since they got everybody out in the quad, and there's a lot of people, and we kind of did some energy work. Okay, and then what happened was Steve put on this Chinese outfit, and I knew he'd done some Tai Chi, but he did one of the Tai Chi weapon sets real slow. And I thought that was cool, so I signed up for his Tai Chi class. I was still doing some Shotokan, and I was also doing Aikido, obviously. But then the Tai Chi was just Aikido. There was always a distraction. You're kind of working with a partner, and the Tai Chi kind of got me much more into, say, an interior experience. And the steps were much, full Zenkutsu Dachi. It was a much more natural posture, and you kind of moved at a certain pace. And so when that happened, the heel kick came up at some point, and I was so much in that Tai Chi dimension, which is very starkly different than the Shotokan. That heel spin turn didn't bother me at all. What I find, a lot of times what happens when you're kind of doing the Tai Chi, you kind of, the energy can push, so you start to go a little too fast. That's when, you've got to check your balance. That's why a lot of times if you're having difficulty with that move or any Tai Chi move, whether it's a step or whatever, slow it down. And for me, that always works. I mean, I still go, practice myself, a little shaky on that one. So I go back over it again, slower. Okay. And Since we're kind of in this discussion, I'm doing a move. It can be an Aikido or a Tai Chi move. There's energy going through my system. Yeah. That when the energy pushes, I move too fast. When I kind of zone out, a lot of times you start to get energy, you can also kind of float. All right. And then usually what happens, you pull back. But there is that balance between, being pushed by the energy when it comes up, and where you kind of zone out. Both of those are extremes. So right in the middle of it, you're kind of riding the energy. And the energy itself, instead of pushing you or getting you really out of what's going on, takes you to a clarity where things just unfold. That's the whole purpose of form in Tai Chi is really do the forms to learn how they unfold. Right? The Aikido movements. There's a form. I am learning the form. A lot of times we find ourselves pushed by the energy. So learning to settle with it. Or conversely, usually what happens is the pushes in various ways. For example, I'm getting pushed by it. I'm thinking too much. Things are going way too fast, so I'm colliding. So learning to kind of settle a bit. Be kind of in the moment. So I'm kind of doing a hand movement here. What I'd like everybody to do, and we got a couple of people watching, okay? Let's move as well. Now what we're doing is kind of like a gokyo, whole motion. Somebody grabs your wrist, you rotate, come in. It's either a stretch or that stretch, you get a little extra that comes up. A sit, fall, a throw. Now, any movement in Aikido, any form, you get energy for. We could do another one. And again, we're focusing on hands, but the flow is something that comes through. It's full body. And when I get flow and energy and flow, flow is a harmony. Energy can push. So I'm going out there to try to do something. Centering, grounding. Okay. Now, one of the things that happens is, we get caught up in a rhythm or a form within that rhythm, but really move quickly. Or break it up frame by frame. Certain situations, that's the rhythm for it. And we're building a form, it's all about the harmony between the form and the energy coming through. Now, what happens with speed is it starts fast and then it jams up. Boom. See, this actually starts from your center or from your ground or interiorly from your breath, not your. It actually starts real slow and then it picks up speed. As opposed to starting fast and jamming up. So any movement is a chance to practice that. Now, I just referenced breath or breathing. My breathing is high, and my attention is out there. It starts to settle instead of being visual. I'm breathing, in name only. It's just all kind of. So it's using an ikkyo form here. Feel the weight out there, go out there to do the technique. Still feel the weight out there, but at least, I'm breathing chest and shoulders. Starting to kind of get some belly. Kind of midway down, kind of breathing to the knees. Starting to feel the breath all the way down to the floor. All of a sudden, I'm not so conscious of this. Now, how do I want the wrist to feel? I want Uke's wrist to feel like my wrist. All of a sudden, it's almost like, we're kind of, I would just call it the magical pool. Uke starts to sink. I can get into that form a little quick because the energy pushes. So as I breathe a little better, I can still do the movement, but at least I've got some shoulders and chest in that motion. I can do the movement a little better. I'm kind of getting into my hips here. I do the movement a little better. I'm starting to get my knees. I'm sort of going more towards the ground. All of a sudden, I've got the ground. And I'm going to be able to power the movement through a little bit, but let me settle past that. So there's a pool. And that way down is just really something sinking into that pool. You drop a rock into still water, it's going to sink. So, like rush out there right into weight and density. Okay. Ideally, something like Tai Chi, okay, you'll get a certain amount of energy this way, but it's another dimension. Is there weight there? Yes. Or Aikido. Weight. So I got a little clearer with me. Why do I do that? Too much of my thoughts. I jump out there, I run into a wave. I start to settle my weight. All of a sudden, the weight goes more under. Partner starts to move without me doing that. Oh, hips, ground. Okay, so a lot of times, even though we don't have a partner, you have a memory of, okay, being out there or relaxing again. It's a little better. Or if you relax a little bit more, and a little bit more, and after a bit, there's a different level of you here. Boom, boom. Okay. So we're doing kind of just more of a seated practice. You can do this standing. But people, two people that I'll reference. Once was a man named Robert Koga who taught at the Aikido school that we have, but he would teach police Aikido tactics that were made for police situations. The other one, was Steven Seagal, who came and taught a class for us in summer of 1990. And what both said, somebody said, well, how do you train? Because Seagal was a movie star. And Robert Koga was well into his 70s. So, at this point we're, rolling around and everything. And they both kind of said, well, we just take the movement. Break it down moment by moment. Okay? And it can make whatever you make of it, but any technique like a ikkyo. See, I'm what happened right there? I run into the weight of Uke's body in the wrist, and then I try to move my own weight to try to get, and that works to some degree. How do I want Uke's hand to feel? I want it to feel like mine. There's a firm grip there, but it's not I'm going to twist it. But this hand here, see, I can go for the hit. This hand, I want to begin to feel like my hand. I want this to feel like my forearm. So I'm not losing myself. In fact, I'm actually making a connection here, which connects out there. And then I get to that magic pool area. I can't really walk on water, but the thing is, Nage can sort of walk on water. Settles into the water. Notice how it's not just a twist or a dropping of weight, but it's really kind of a spiral. So you start to learn about energy patterns. You can do that really at any point. And an important thing right there. Breathing. When I'm in a very dense state, my attention goes out really fast into weight. But my breathing is very rapid and my thoughts follow that. They're very, very. My breathing starts to deepen, chest, belly. Starts to overflow down the belly. It's almost like you've got a bowl in the sink and you turn the water on and it fills up. Then it starts to overflow. It starts to go down the legs. So the feeling of breathing deepens that way. Then all of a sudden, here's the different me. When the body gets dense and tight, this starts to kind of get very active and external. As the body gets more balanced with itself, which means it touches finer levels of itself. Here I have a little bit of ground. I have some composure. My mind is clearer because I'm not kind of in that dense state. When energy comes through, it comes through generating a flow. Instead of trying to get somebody or looking at it, we're welcoming them. The Tojima Sensei on Ikkyo, you say, irashaimasen, which is welcome, come on in. And then after a while, you have a very welcoming nature to you. You have a very welcoming nature to you. You have a very welcoming nature to you. So your movement starts to get finer. Movements. A finer movement is a more efficient movement. But a more efficient movement becomes a more efficient level of myself here. And if I'm kind of looking at the breathing here, you can take almost any technique. For example, a lot of the wrist techniques, ikkyo, sankyo, ikkyo, which is really a body technique, yonkyo, forearm, but it's a body technique. Okay, they're kind of done to develop what a sensei called the breath, which is oftentimes referred to as gokyo. See, there's a tendency right here where I'm just out there. Well, if you check your breathing, it's more natural, it's deeper, but breath, and of course, if I have to stand right here, I'm standing, as opposed to I got to get up and, or if I'm going to sit. That Aikido place helps me in terms of my own physical movement, especially as my body ages. Okay? This motion, or sleepy. No matter if somebody grabs your wrist, there's that weight there, but as we settle in a bit, there's that Aiki dimension. Too quick. Okay? Osensei told Sadaharu, learn to wait. Why? Because his attention was too quick, and when he went out there to hit, there was a hitch. At the worst possible time, right when he was about to pull the trigger, so to speak, metaphorically, and swing, hit the ball, there'd be a hitch. So Sensei said, learn to wait. That's that hitch. Not wait, by the way, for strike 3. Okay? And part of learning to the wait is going from breathing higher, more outer, deeper, still deeper, becomes breath. Now let's take a sankyo motion. He's got strong wrists. How do I want the grip to feel? I'm holding a wrist, I'm going to twist it. Grab your own wrist and just relax and calm, like you would. I was walking with my granddaughter, which I'll hopefully be able to do, I'm holding her hand. I don't want to rip it, twisted. It's firm. There's a loving feel to it. That's what I want in that grip. If I check in this system, the breathing, kind of settles into a breath area. And how do I want the hands to feel? Firm. I'm holding her hand. Or conversely, she's asleep and I'm going to put her down on the sofa or something. I'll twist her. Firm. And so when I was sensei said things like Aikido is a martial art of love, See, when we're too dense and our attention goes out there too much, that first move is not the wrist twisting. It's to gather yourself. The grip comes out of that, which is a firm, but the feeling is, you're going to twist yourself, you're going to hate yourself. No, you're going to hold yourself in a firm but loving way. And again, fast motion doesn't start fast and then jam up. Fast motion actually starts very slow and boom. Bruce Lee said it. Most people, when they're gonna strike, they start fast. But he says that, basically, his secret to his speed, he says, boom, the actual thing at the end is fast, which means it doesn't start fast and then slow down at the end to hit it. Boom. And Master Choi, boom, when he would boom, move that way. It wasn't just all floaty stuff. Boom, boom. So as we stand up, my tension is out. I'm going to gather myself, stand up with some composure and balance. Likewise, I'm going to sit. So all of a sudden, if somebody's going to attack right here, I can do the attack. Okay? And Sensei talks about your mind and body unifying. When we're too dense, the tension goes out way too quick. Mind gets, the I mind, the noisy mind gets way too active. There's a calmer, deeper, more centered feeling to the body. The I is there, but it's finer. So the noisy mind that it creates is calmer. Then we have the unity. And then if we're going to do a movement, we don't rush into the weight. Where your body has weight, but it feels, it's a finer sense to it. There's that motion, there's that motion. There's this sort of breathing, and there's that. Body feels, in some sense, lighter, freer, boom. So those are things that you can work on a little bit. Sankyo. Always, baseball bat. You can be young O who's a little too quick, or you can be the baseball god O. Too quick, too outer, too dense. Settling in. Ibri Minage, ukase. Shin is here, weighs a ton. And we keep going into it, creating more weight. You start with weight, but all of a sudden, there's refinement in your own system. Okay. Let's do this. Check in a bit. Got some people. You can practice on your chair. You say, I mean, the dojo right now is not available in training inside with partners, but you can still break it down. So we covered a couple of basic moves. Does anybody have a question, like a technique bugging you? All right. Gee, when I was training at the dojo, this technique used to always drive me crazy. Anybody have something they want to bring up? It's a good time because we can break it down. If you're sitting in a chair or sitting on the floor or something, you can actually have some pretty major revelations, right? And if you have a body feel in the moment sense, you're not just thinking about it. Anybody? Cliff, do you have anything that a technique used to drive you crazy?
Yeah, you know what? Gokyo, Yonkyu, and Gokyo.
Well, it's called gokyo.
Kyo.
Gokyo is, it would be.
Sorry. Gokyo.
Yeah, kyo means kind of principle. Ikkyo, ikkyo, san kyo. In fact, in the old Daito-ryu, it was not ikkyo, it was ikkajo, san kajo.
What's kajo?
And you don't really have to, but you don't really want to start talking about gokyo and say gokyu, so just it's a little bit of a correction, which is very understandable. I thought, actually I was going to do something around that with the staff. So, okay, now for example, here, somebody is coming at you with something sharp. Okay, it could be coming this way. In fact, the Kato sensei, he said the most difficult knife-taking technique for him was shomenuchi, gokyo. Somebody, somebody can come at you this way, all right? But they slash. A thrust is the most dangerous one, okay? And the other one is, and somebody can dance around, do all these things here, but somebody coming to stab you this way, what are they going to do? They're probably not going to come this way. They're probably just going to come this way. That's, a lot of our stuff, somebody said, you're going to handle a trained knife fighter? Probably not. But a lot of what we work on, that's a knife to throat, hostage situation, knife in the back, things like that. They're things that we put your life in danger, all right? In fact, Robert Koga, somebody was asking about it because he taught police may run into that, right? And a police officer comes up to him once and says, will you teach me the knife fight? And Robert Koga said, why? You've got a gun, you've got a nightstick. Why in the world would you want to fight somebody who has a knife with a knife? In fact, he also said once, he said, if you're facing an armed attack, especially a knife, he says, look around. There may be a chair. There may be something else you can use. A broom or something like that's a potential something for you. Don't face it in real life. Okay, so he was pretty, so the gokyo motion, we're so ikkyo. We're so ikkyo oriented, there's the blade here. Well, we go for ikkyo. The blade cuts us like it's an ikkyo. So now right about here, what you're doing is your thumb is going the same direction as the blade, but you're not just grabbing it with it, but and your hips and your ground are supporting that. And see, the thumb goes this way. When we take it this way, you can turn the thumb and the blade goes away from you. Now, right here, there's a tendency to set and twist. But see, that's where the hips are moving in to create that downhill slope, okay, for you to enter. And conversely, if somebody is coming in from the side or here, if you go this way, the blade comes right down and cuts your wrist like an ikkyo. So, you rotate. And again, the thumb, this is a tricky change, goes the direction of the blade, which is coming in a stab motion towards you. But you then take, and then the thumb rotates away, the blade goes away. And then here you're turning, stepping behind, which I can't quite do in this confined space. So, this is chalk talk, and unfortunately, it's like, okay, now I'm going to go out there and practice. But you can be an in the moment feel sense as opposed to just hearing about and getting the words and then thinking about it out there. And if you can visualize it, this is something Robert Koga said, if you can visualize it, you're kind of working more from your subconscious mind. He says you can begin to do it. And that's what Steven Seagal also said. You may like his stuff, you may not. But he says, I just visualize the situation, take a slow motion, frame by frame. And then boom, he has those, or did when he was here in 1990, much more fast, like fast finishes, okay, which certain people liked and certain people were horrified by. He's very good. I will say that. He was extremely good. And so there's that gokyo. Yonkyo, there's that change right here where you grab both of them. Basically, ikkyo is very deceptive because if you go this way, it turns into the ikkyo position. You create a wall. What do? Well, you go this way. You take the elevator down. And you move into the underfloor to where you want to go, then maybe take another elevator up. Okay, all right? There's a tendency to run out there. You get results jamming on the nerve. Okay? Again, what I do is I kind of, okay, now, you want to work the energy of your partner's body as opposed to just trying to overpower the physical body. So what I kind of use is like, I'm squeezing a tube of toothpaste. Now I'm going to there's a big giant toothbrush down there. Instead of twist. And that visualization gets me out of it. So, those are things you can, you kind of find, you have an information file. There's certain things as you continue to develop, they're little tricks of the trade. Well, Sensei did a lot of what he called kuden, which were, more like, little obscure little Aiki Zen-like things, which would unlock a technique. And the point is, if you didn't get the oral teaching, it wasn't just train, it was kind of like there was a subtlety. Okay? There's a subtlety. Most, people that are good, I can't remember the guy's name, but he was a judo person, and he, talked to Robert Frazier during a Japan period for both of them. And he says, judo throws are really Zen koans. And Robert Fraser, I talked to him once about it. He said, yeah, if judo, which is primarily leverage, okay, is a koan, then what are Aikido movements? Every Aikido technique is like a koan. Okay, let's move into the other room. I was thinking about another presentation, which we would take. And let's see, what do we do? Okay, I'm trying to go this way. Yeah, okay. Now we have this set up. Let's go this way. And I'll use the staff. Now, in the 30 movements, thumbs away, ikkyo. Thumbs face, second change, ikkyo. Thumbs face you. Third change, sankyo. Thumbs face away. The change is not so much in the hands. Change is in the body. And okay, like Einstein, he talked about a gravity wave, space-time all of a sudden. And when space-time changes, objects are pulled, because that's really curvatures in space-time are really about what gravity is. But what if you, for example, you're standing on space-time, you create a gravity well. Not push out there. It's got to be firm. That's the gokyo. Toei Sensei talked about weight underside. Weight's too high. Gokyo. This position. Okay. So I thought we'd sometime, the hand position changes for the staff or the spear are not totally the way that you would look at them in terms of the body arts, but they're close. Okay. Now, for example, the ikkyo movement. This is commonly coming this way. I go this way. Okay. I go this way. Now, and then I go here and I twist the arm, or I put my weight down on the arm. But if I look at the hands, they're not in the ikkyo position, they're in an ikkyo position. So really what I'm doing is creating a wall. And I got to twist. Now this hand would go for the elbow. And what you do, you don't grab too quick. You use your body and rotate. And now you are, and that's the entering motion. I'm grabbing the ear. Now, but by rotating the hips, I'm actually getting thumbs away, which is the thrust. Ikkyo. Most people kind of see it as a cutting motion, like a sword movement, but really ikkyo. Now here, what happens is instead of grabbing, too quick. You continue to rotate from the hips, and then you get, even though it's here, the thumb is going away from you, it's not coming back on you. And then you move that way. So, ikkyo is really a thrusting motion, not a twisting motion or a drop your weight down motion, a thrusting motion. And getting that change of the elbow without an uke is challenging. Or conversely, if you have an uke, you get so caught up in trying to do the technique or potentially in the social dynamic that oftentimes you don't get that. Okay? First change. Boom. This is all first change. Okay, that's first part of the 30 movements. Okay. Somebody coming to push or grab your shoulder. So, yeah, the motion becomes shoulder over the top, as opposed to here at the elbow becomes a thrusting motion. It's a ikkyo. Remember the ikkyo. Settle in. You're on that magic pool. You float, they sink. Too quick. Notice how instead of over the top, it's a thrusting motion. I'm going to get to the other side of the thrust. See right here, the thumbs face each other, don't they? Thank you. You don't have a partner, but you have all the stuff. The major thing that happens right here is we collide here. See, I'm going to twist the wrist, pump the wrist right here, and you let the body motion, hips, round, right? See right here, for example, this is more what we call the third change position, thumbs face you. But when you go this way, the thumbs face each other. It's an ikkyo. Boom, boom, boom. A push or a grab. That's a weight. I've gone out there too quick. It's the thrusting motion. Now, so for example, we go here, thumbs face each other. This is the second change. Boom, boom. Okay, it's okay. Sankyo, thumbs face you. Loading for Sankyo. Now this is a tricky one. Not to give you a tip that this is a Sankyo motion. But how many people have gone here and they go and find out that Uke's wrist is very strong. They're making it's a twisting motion. No, see Sankyo. Oftentimes, the spear teaches you about most Aikido movements. I think Osensei saw virtually all of them as thrusting movements. So instead of kind of going right here, And twisting, yes, you do turn the wrist, but you're also kind of, see, the movement starts actually ground, ankles, knees, hips, shoulders. In fact, all of that is a pulse or beat of energy. Boom. Now you notice here, what I'm doing is there's some twist in the wrist, but the tip here represents the elbow. And right here, then you point that elbow towards the ground, you have a takedown. And, you know, the thing about it is that, you know, I mean, that's something that you oftentimes have to kind of work out with a partner. But I'm going to do a sankyo. Okay. And a lot of times what happens here is that these days you let go of one knee, but you know, yeah, boom. You know, in a real situation, I would want to go here. Class, yeah, it's easier. This is much, boom, much more abrupt for uke. But in a real situation, I would not want to let go of this hand to try to control the elbow. I would control the elbow through that and then reverse through the elbow. If I go this way and lead out too quick, I lose the connection. Boom, that's the sankyo motion. Yonkyo, again. Go for the nerve. Yeah, you got to figure, but either the body feels like it's in a gravity well. I mean, it's space-time's curving underneath me, creating a gravity well. Too quick to the hand. Gokyo. Gokyo. Again, I grab for ikkyo, but somebody has a blade, it cuts my wrist. So here, I'm going to deflect, not the blade, by just rotating their wrist a bit. And then, you see right here, I'm going to rotate the thumb and the blade go that way, then I'm going to move in. Okay? So you can broaden your sense of that. Now, there's not a total one-for-one. Okay? But you can, let's see, yeah, we're fine here. So, basic drill, left side position, ikkyo. Ikkyo. Sankyo. Yonkyo. Gokyo. You can just do that. We do that, by the way. The first 20 moves, actually the first 22 moves of the staff spear misogi form does the 5 basic changes. So let's, we'll do the whole thing. We're going to start out with movement number 5. Thumb space away. Movement number 6. 7. Both up and down, but see the thumb space away. 8. We rethrust. 9. The hands change places. So I've got to be back here, and then this is in the way, but go. It's a cutting motion. Thumb space away. Now we go to the other side. Thumb space away. That's the first couple of moves are all the first change. That's it's ikkyo. Okay. Now you go from movement 10, thumbs face each other. 11, 12, 13. Ikkyo change. And again, I'm going to step back, create some space. Sometimes if I just go here, somebody hits. So boom, we distract. And right here, instead of the upper body twisting, notice how it's a thrusting motion. And right about here, you see the thumbs face each other, don't they? I'm just going to power it through and twist the wrist. There's a technology to it. Thumbs face each other. Ikkyo. Thumbs face each other. Sankyo. Now to make the change from Sankyo to Yonkyo. Yonkyo. Thumbs face away, ikkyo position, but Yonkyo. Okay. It's all ikkyo. But here, gokyo. Second you grab it, it becomes ikkyo, but thumb here. Okay? So, what I'd like you to do, let's go through that one more time. Movement number 5. 7 is both up and down, 8, rethrust. 9, 10. Now, second change. 11, 12, 13. Third change. 14, 15. Back to the second change. And first change, 16, 17. Fourth change. Back to second change, 18, 19, 20, 21. Now, 22. Fifth change. Okay? I'd like you to go through that a couple times from movement number 5 all the way through movement number 22. Okay. Okay, anybody with a question or comment on any of that? No.
Sensei,
Yes.
may I bounce a sense of an understanding of the sense of the fifth change off of you?
The fifth change.
Yeah, it since we've gotten to talking so much today about how the fourth change feels like deepening a gravity well, I've started to get the sense today that the fifth change kind of sort of feels like gravity floating or something like that, like the up that's naturally going into the up after we naturally created down, fourth change. And I was wondering if you would comment on that.
Well, the fifth change is a tricky one. So the fifth change is a very quick reversal because something's coming at you, goes that way. Fifth change for me, if it's done properly, what the fifth change feels like is a force field. Boom, boom. Knife cuts you. This is coming at you, but it just deflects. All right, you know, it's probably what it would be like to be Superman. Bullets bounce off you. But you're creating kind of a field of ki where boom, the bullet, which is coming this way, or the knife point goes like that. The tricky thing with the fifth change, as in all Aikido techniques, is we get caught up in weight, and twisting, and pushing and pulling. And we kind of want that to happen. Okay, so that's my koan for the fifth change. Something's coming at you and it reverses. The knife point is coming at you, and instead of, see, the knife is coming at you this way. If we go this way to a class, you know, like I'm going to do ikkyo, but I'm going to turn it this way, it can cut you. But right here, we want that change to be very much like if you're Superman or Supergirl, or you can conversely you're Wonder Woman, okay? A bullet, the bracelet, boom, boom. That's my koan. You can find yours, all right? I don't know if that helps or not, but I don't want to think too much about twisting here, all right? Now, the fact is, how do you get, so it doesn't just go that way? Because you've got your body behind it. And here, see the tip and the thumb are going the same way. They both point away. That's the bullet hitting the bracelet. Boom. 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 Now, to achieve that reversal, boom, there's ground. Boom, there's hips. There's timing in the hands. Boom. Boom. But the understanding of that is the koan. Does that make any sense? See, the techniques are not supposed to be, I mean, we learn them this way. Okay, you're a brown belt, you're going to take a black belt test. You got to work and you got to work that change. But to where it becomes a koan is not about what rank you are. Tojima Sensei was saying it was a different phrasing, but he says all this stuff, no, you don't have to wait till you're a black belt. I'm not saying, you know, like, shouldn't I wait till I'm a black belt to do that? I said, not really. You get it when you get it. It may take you 50 years, but think of yourself as Wonder Woman, a bullet. That's how you want that change to be. Now you can struggle with it and go through the twist and the turn, but when you get it, that's what it's going to feel like. And you may lose it or be off your timing, but that's what you go for. Okay. I just, by the way, I watched Zack Snyder's cut, the director's cut of Justice League. So Wonder Woman is kind of fresh in my consciousness right now. It's much better than the original. It's still, I mean, there's a number of different things, and the Joss Whedon version was taking a lot of material and putting it into a 2-hour format. The director's cut is 4 hours, and it's like, okay, you get them, it fleshes things out. Now, if you don't like Justice League or superheroes or whatever, you're probably not gonna go, oh yeah, that's better. All right, but I thought it was better. Anyway, let's move into back into the other room. And we will question or just a lot of those crazy information. You have to kind of settle it. You process. As you get deeper, integrate better with the information. You're part of the information. That's what makes the whole thing. Here, if I'm too dense, this is too active. I go out there way too quick. I'm Sadahadu, and I can't hit anything because I'm too quick. Boom, my attention goes out there. I get a hitch. So somebody asks, says, wait. Doesn't mean wait for strike 3. But learn to wait. Okay, so the waiting is just deepening, getting to a finer level of yourself where that information is processed. And through the processing of that information, it's integrated. You're part of the information. You're part of it. You know, there's a certain amount of control you have over. And control is not a good word. I'm going to control myself. No. You can choose to kind of deepen, open. And then the information integrates better. Boom, boom. And also what mind-body harmony is integration, isn't it? A better level of mind-body. Integration is a better level of you or me. And therefore the technique. Gokyo. Wonder Woman's bracelet. Boom. And we can slow it down, which they do sometimes in slow motion. You can see bullets, like Go Sensei. She can dodge bullets, but she wouldn't. That's really good. She's one of the best parts of Justice League, obviously. Anybody with a question or, basically, if you have a question about it, you got to create the integration leads you to your own koan. You see what I mean? The ultimate koan that O-sensei had, according to Nado sensei, was who am I? Deeper, deeper, finer, finer, deeper, deeper, finer, finer. Okay, certain amount of information processing, deeper, 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 finer. Deeper levels of integration, mind, body, whatever it is. Who am I? Self, whatever. Okay, so that was apparently a major one for O-sensei. And he left us some koans like if you don't understand true emptiness, you really can't get what Aikido ultimately is. Okay. Another one is the sum of Aikido is 0. Follow the path of the mountain echo. There's a whole bunch of stuff that he put out there, not for the linear mind. A koan is to get us out of the linear mind. The linear mind, too quick, goes out there. So when we process and integrate, we start to understand the movement by creating our own koans. You see what I mean? Mine may work for you, they may not. And, you know, a pretty good one is maybe O-sensei's main koan, who am I? Okay, anybody with a question or anything that you want to add here? It's part of the great mystery. Yeah, I mean, really, I mean, you know, that's what a koan is. It's supposed to take us out of our linear understanding into a much fuller dimensional sense of something. But in the process of solving the koan of a movement, we're supposed to also be making progress on who am I? There's all these different things. I mean, Aikido, if you go into it, I mean, you know, it's incredibly fascinating because the movements are so multidimensional. But, you know, I'll go back to what Albert Einstein said. So the universe is multidimensional, as are we. Yeah. So, you know, since it was, you know, you could argue he was a scientist of the spirit. And, you know, he used the martial arts as a gym or laboratory to kind of get far enough back, who am I, right? I mean, if we've been mentioning that whole theme song of the Big Bang Theory, the universe was a hot, dense state. Expansion started, 14 billion years ago, expansion started. Wait. What's wait? Wait is, you know, okay, that incredibly hot, dense, and then it sort of had to kind of expand because it was just in that one point really being hot and dense. We were there as a part of an original consciousness. Don't forget that. But if you go into that, 14 billion years ago, expansion started. Wait. But then it really goes really fast, doesn't it? The Earth began to cool, autotrophs began to drool. Neanderthals created tools, developed tools. That's a fabulous jump from autotroph, single cell, to Neanderthal. We built the walls, we built the pyramids. So all of a sudden, creation starts, and we're swept along with it. It's a vortex. And science, math, and history. Holding the mystery that started with the Big Bang. But really, what it is, if you take that crazy song as a koan, it didn't start with the Big Bang. It started with the original consciousness where we were all there before we became subconsciousnesses or subsouls and got caught up in that vortex. And then in the show, you have people like Sheldon and Amy and Penny and Leonard and Wallowitz and Rajesh. And you see what I mean? Here we are. Boom, right from that, boom, here we are. Solve the mystery. But what is that mystery about? It's about weight. Because we get swept up in the vortex of it, and all of a sudden we're here. We're a character in a sitcom, okay, or a tragedy, or whatever. So, you know, just looking at the techniques and go, okay, well, see, I've just always been that way. And then one time I had a conversation with Ano Sensei, and he didn't use the term koan, but he said, yeah, well, Sensei left us a lot of homework. Is the way he left us a hell of a lot of homework. Or you can get caught up
Hmm? Hmm.
You frozen for everyone?
It appears to be so. I was wondering if it was just me. Hi, Cliff's voice.
Yeah, I
Greeting.
think he's frozen for everyone. Maybe he paused to go fight a battle of Randori.
And now he is gone.
No, yes, that seemed that looks like a crashing session or something like this.
Al, can you hear us?
Is there anybody in there? Or however that pink Floyd song goes?
Out there.
Oh,
Hello, hello, hello. Is there
I'm gonna go ahead and log off.
okay.
in there?
See
You're
you
right.
guys.
Oh, wait, wait, wait. Here comes.
Ah.
1 sec.
He did just say to wait. So.
What is the secret of Buddha nature?
Oh, thanks.
Unmute video according. Is the chaos level, obviously. You try to do a photograph, the camera wouldn't work. There's some stuff that obviously did work, so we do have somewhat of a video. We're gonna, but just if any of you are there, let's see if anybody's there. Yeah, a couple of you are still there. Remember, is the week 3 of Sensei Revisited, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Weather's going to be uncertain for the next 2 days, but it's supposed to be good on Sunday. So we'll be doing our outdoor training, 11:30 to 1 on Sunday. So I'm going to say thank you for tuning in today. And, you know, if I succeeded today, all I would say is that I kind of stretched your boundaries of what a lot of these crazy changes are, or what an Aikido technique is. I remember one time, you know, because he used to actually answer letters for Marvel Comics. He had letters pages. And somebody kind of, you know, wrote Stan Lee and said, hey, Stan, you know, I just want to let you know that, you know, I read your stuff. And what it really awakens in me is a sense of wonder. And Stan kind of wrote back, oh, wow, that's one of the biggest compliments I've ever received. Awakening a sense of wonder. He said, makes all those, you know, sleepless nights and long hours, you know, worth it. Thank you. And, you know, if I can awaken a sense of wonder, even about this level of material, helping you find your own personal koan for a movement, is going to take you, whether you know it or not, towards yourself as the mystery. That's my job. And to get better at the moves. Okay? So thank you all.
Thank you, Sensei.
Take care.
Thank you, Sensei. Great class.